welcome to my channel. My name is Alice. I go by Hello Alice here on YouTube and I make art videos. So I am super excited for the video today because I'm going to be trying a bunch of new art supplies that Arteza sent to me. I used to pronounce it Arteza, but I was watching some of their videos and I realized it's pronounced Arteza, so awkward. But I am going to start the video with a quick little haul so I can show you everything they sent me, and then I'll kind of get into a little bit more detail about the products, prices, what I think of them, all that good stuff during the speed paint. So thank you so much to Arteza for sending me these supplies. This is a sponsored video, but you guys know that I always give my 100% honest opinion about whether I like a product or dislike a product, and also just because I dislike a product doesn't mean that you will dislike a product, and it doesn't mean that I think the company is bad or anything like that. Same with if I like a product, it doesn't mean that I think that everything that company does is amazing. But thus far I've really liked a lot of the stuff that I've tried from Arteza, so I'm super excited to try all these things out. They sent me a bunch of stuff, so let me just kind of haul everything that I got. Some of it is already opened, I apologize for that, but the first thing that I have, which has been opened, is this guy. This is huge. This is a 6-pack of their 16 by 20 stretch canvases. They are primed with acid-free acrylic primer. They are 5/8 inch profile. They're currently on sale. I don't remember the exact price. I think it's $16.99 or $17.99. I want to say $17.99. They're under 20 bucks right now for 6 canvases, which is a crazy good deal. It says they are great for light paint applications, practice studies, and class projects, which is awesome. I'm not going to be testing them out in this video, but I will try them in a future video. I'm super excited about this. I've been wanting to do more acrylic work, so I'm excited to have a bunch of canvases to play around with. Speaking of acrylic work, I also got sent this, which is their 24 acrylic colors. This is from their premium line. They have 2 lines. They have premium and expert, and their premium line is like their student quality and their expert is their artist quality. So this is the student quality. I believe right now this is on sale for like $21.98 or something like that, around $22, and that's less than $1 per color because you do get 24 colors in here. This is what the box looks like. And real quick, I'll show you everything inside. So this is what it looks like inside, and it's layered so you guys can see underneath there are even more paints, and I think there's like 4 layers in here of paint. Super excited to try these out as well, and again that will be at a later date because I cannot try out like 5 different mediums in one painting. That's just not gonna work out well for me, so I'm gonna try out all the other stuff, and I'll update you on what I think of these. But I'm super excited, and I feel like it's definitely a super affordable price, so super excited they sent me those. How many times can I say super excited in one video? So moving on to some of the stuff that I am going to try in this video, and I'm going to skim through these because I'm going to talk a lot more about them during the speed paint. They sent me the set of 24 gouache colors, also from their premium collection, which again is their student. These are 12 milliliters, and this is what it looks like inside. Oh, so pretty. I feel like this has, like, first impressions, this has a really good color range. There's a lot of information on the tubes, which is also on the acrylics and on all of the other products they sent me that I will detail a little bit more in the speed paint. I'll talk about what all this information means, but it's all super useful information. They also sent me this set of 12 watercolors in the premium set, and again I will go into a little bit more detail during the actual speed paint, but this is what it looks like inside. Very similar to the gouache paints. Same size, same packaging design as the gouache and the acrylic, which I really like this packaging. I feel like it's it just looks really nice. The last thing that they sent me that I'm super excited about is this. This is their 72 watercolor pencil set from their expert line. So this is from their artist quality line. So it says they're rich and vibrant colors, they're break resistant, soft and thick water soluble leads, unsurpassably light, fast, and acid free quality pigments, use wet or dry, ideal for watercolor effects, drawing and illustrating. So I am super excited to try these out as well. So I'm going to obviously go into a lot more detail about all of these supplies during the speed paint, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview of everything that they sent me before we started. But I tried to keep it quick because I know you guys want to see art art. So without any further ado, let's jump on into the painting and I'll tell you a little bit more about everything that they sent me, what I think of them, prices, if I think it's worth it, all that good stuff. So if you're excited to see what I think of these products, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It does help me out. And yeah. Okay guys, so real quick before I jump into the supplies, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what I'm painting, which is a really simple illustration with a watercolor and watercolor pencil background, with most of the work on top being done in gouache. I'd actually originally did a more complicated piece, but it didn't work out, which I will talk a little bit more about later. And then this is the second piece that I did, which I'm actually pretty happy with. And it's kind of an underwater scene, and if I have time I will talk a little bit more about it later, but I'm gonna jump into the review now. So I'll start out with the watercolor pencils. So there are 72 watercolor pencils and they are currently on the website for $33.87, which is a pretty good price for 72 watercolor pencils. I'm going to go through my pros and my cons of each thing that I tried. So the pros with the watercolor pencils are definitely the price obviously is a big one. $33.87 is a really good deal for 72 watercolor pencils, as well as the color selection. There was quite a large color selection. As you saw before, there was so many different tones and colors that you really kind of have everything that you need when you're starting. I also felt that they felt very creamy when you first started laying them down on the paper, and very pigmented when you first started layering them down. I'd actually be interested in trying these just as colored pencils as well as the watercolor, and just using them without adding water. I'd be really interested to see how that would work because they do feel very creamy. When you add water, they do blend really well with each other, and most of the colors I would say are decently pigmented, although there are a few that struggled with pigmentation. So leading to the cons, the biggest con that I noticed with these was that they don't blend as well with the paper and with other mediums as they do with each other. They blend really nicely with each other, but when you blend them out with water on the paper, you can still, with some colors, see the pencil marks underneath, which can work to your advantage if you want a texture or something like that. And as I said, it kind of was hit or miss with the colors that did that. So the pigments don't fully melt away like they do with the woodless watercolor pencils. And that kind of leads me to my second con, which was, like I said, it's a little hit or miss. So most of them were pretty well pigmented, but there were a couple that struggled. And then, you know, there were some that blended away easier than others and others that blended away harder than others. So I just felt like they were a little bit hit or miss there. But overall, I think this is it's a decent set for the price. I personally prefer the formula of the woodless watercolor pencils better. I really love those watercolor pencils, but I think that with the larger color selection that you get with this could be something that is very useful for a lot of people. So moving on to the watercolors. The watercolors are $9.99 for 12 colors, which is a great price, especially because they're tubes, so you're going to be getting a lot more paint. They're 12 milliliter tubes. So the pros that I have, again, the price, like I said, that's a really good deal. I felt like they were actually quite pigmented. I didn't really have to like put in a bunch of paint to get a good pigment, and the thing that I noticed the most was that they granulate amazingly. If you don't know what granulation is, it's where pigment settles into the hollows or grooves of the paper and it creates almost a mottled effect. It's very beautiful. Sometimes the pigment will kind of separate a little bit, and these had really beautiful granulation, so they are great for getting really pretty textured effects. As far as cons, the only con that I had for the watercolors is that they were a little bit opaque. They weren't the most translucent watercolors I've ever used, which is somewhat common in student quality paints. Also, when you're using tubes, it can be harder to get a little bit more, it can be easier to accidentally make things more opaque. Again, for some people this could actually be a pro. I know when I made my review of the koi watercolors, a lot of people mentioned that they preferred their watercolors to be a little bit opaque, so they could build them up and use them a little bit differently, but that's just something you should be aware of. But for $10, I think you can't really go wrong with $10. This could be a great starting set if you just want to try out watercolors and see how you like them. So the last one that I'm going to talk about is the gouache paints. because that's what I used for the majority of this painting. And the gouache paints are currently on their website for $19.89 for 24 colors. So again, a great deal. And as with all of the other pros, the first pro with this one is going to be the price. It's just a great price, especially for how many you get. And leading to my second pro is the color selection. I think it's a great color selection. If you are looking to start and get into gouache and just try it out and see if you like it, I mean, that's a great price for a lot of paint with a lot of different colors. It's kind of going to do everything you need to get you started. Also, these paints have two different whites. It has a white and a titanium white, so you get extra white, which is super useful. Other pros, I felt like they were pretty highly pigmented, and the biggest pro I felt was that they are super easy to re-wet. I've had gouaches, in fact even my very expensive Hold Me gouaches, they don't always re-wet very well, and these re-wet very easily, which was really great, and I really appreciated that. As far as any cons, not all of them were super opaque. That may or may not be a con to you. I'm going to talk in a few moments just about the packaging, which indicates the opacity of some of these, and really I found that it was very consistent, whether it would indicate if they were not as opaque, and that was consistent. So it's not like you don't know, or it's not warned on the package. They do dry quite differently. Gouache in general tends to dry a lot lighter than what you lay it down as, and these ones I felt like that difference was more pronounced than in some of the other gouache paints that I've tried. And then the other thing was that I found them, and this is why I actually scrapped the original painting, I found them a little bit hard to blend with each other, in more of like a blendable, that sounds stupid, but like in a smooth manner. And so I scrapped the first painting, which was more of a realistic kind of painting, and I went with this style, and I think that these paints work really well for this style. I just think that they work best for like a cell shaded kind of style, very flat, and building up colors one on top of the other without trying to blend them seamlessly into one another. I think that's exactly what these work beautifully for, and then you can really let the colors shine. I also did feel like they dried very quickly, and that is not a pro or a con because that's really up to your personal preference. I felt like for me that was more of a pro simply because they were so easy to re-wet. It wasn't that problematic if they dried on the palette, and it was more beneficial to me when they dried quickly on the paper. So I think as far as the gouache goes, those were probably my favorite supplies that I used, and I think that it's a really good set to get yourself started out with. If you just have been curious about gouache and you really want to try it, my first set was from Artist Luff, which is like $5, and I think that this would be potentially a better option because you just get so many more colors, and the tubes are bigger, and they are pretty good, I would say, student level quality for the price. And yeah, so I would recommend these as a kind of introduction to gouache beginner gouache set if that's something you're interested in trying. The last thing I want to talk about with all of these supplies is that all of them have some information on the packaging, which is super helpful. So all of the packaging has some indications of the light fastness of the product on it. There are going to be these little pluses. So according to Arteza, 1+ is at least 10 to 25 years light fast under museum conditions. 2+ is at least 25 to 100 years light fast under museum conditions, and 3+ is at least 100 years light fast under museum conditions. So all of them have that information on it. Then the paints also have a little indicator of their opacity. So they have a little box, and if the box is fully filled in, then they are opaque. If it is half filled in, they are semi-transparent, and if it is empty, then they are transparent. And I found this to be very accurate in depicting how opaque or how transparent a pigment was. The other information that all of the paint has on it is all the paint has the actual pigments listed on them underneath. So it'll say something like PR21. That means pigment red 21. You can actually look that up and you can see what pigments have gone into making these, which I think is really amazing information to put on there, and really shows that these were created with artists in mind. So you can look that up and use that information however you wish. It can be really helpful for mixing colors, for seeing which colors are going to be maybe a little bit more opaque or light fast. I mean, like I said, they have those indications on there as well, but you can look that up yourself and kind of see what pigments have gone into making them. So I think that's everything I have to say about all of the supplies that I tried out. Overall, I was pretty pleased with all of them. I think that most of them would be really, really good for students or people that are looking to get into it. Like I said, their premium line is their basic beginner level, which like for students, and that was the majority of what I tried out. And I felt like, especially because of the price point and the wide color selection, these are really, really great for people that just want to try out new supplies and see if they like them and give them a try. And I think it's really good to be able to do that before you commit to spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars on art supplies. Please don't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on art supplies. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I hope this video was helpful. And that you found it interesting, that it gave you some, insight into these products and what I think of them. I hope you liked the speed painting. I kind of made it look like a little bit of a window with like a kind of like seascape underneath, but there's no fish. I didn't feel like doing fish. I just wanted to draw plants. So hopefully you guys liked that as well. Thank you again so much to Arteza for sponsoring this video and for letting me try your art supplies. I always love getting to test out new art supplies and share them with my subscribers. So it's always exciting when a company is willing to work with me. So yeah, I will link all of the products that I mentioned in the description box down below if you want to check them out. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Come join the Wonderland fam today. I do upload new videos every single Friday. And that is everything I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day. Bye guys!